The Heartless CEO by Yeron G. Chapter 2. In his arms. When Nicole returned to the hall, her friend was busy talking to others. She's happy with her friend's achievement. In the 2 years of her absence, she can say that her image has changed a lot. But her attitude was still the same that she liked. Still humble and friendly. She knows how to look back at where she came from. Nicole distracted herself by watching around while Danica was busy. She was grateful and Sander did not approach her again. She saw Rita with him. They are talking with the other guests.
Hi, are you alone?
A man greeted Nicole. Nicole smiled a little and accepted the hand of the man who wanted to be her acquaintance.
My name is Ralph, the manager of this hotel.
He introduced himself. Nicole's small mouth rounded and she was impressed by his elegance.
Nicole.
She introduced herself to him before smiling.
Are you sure you don't have a partner with you here?
Ralph seemed doubtful.
Is it not allowed?
She replied jokingly to the young man. She quickly became comfortable with him because, like Sander, he was so funny. The man chuckled as he scratched his neck.
No, it's just not convincing that your boyfriend lets you attend something like this without him.
She raised an eyebrow at the man and looked at him teasingly.
What I mean is, if I was your boyfriend, I would be afraid to leave you alone on this occasion. With that beauty of you, it is unlikely that no one would dare to try to pursue you.
He explained to the young lady, and he scratched his neck again, when a smile spread on her lips.
Oh, should I guess how many you'd phrased before me?
Nicole asked the man jokingly. This attitude of hers shows when she knows the person she is talking to is kind.
Do I look like womanizer?
Ralph sounded upset. Nicole couldn't help but laugh with the man. Now, she enjoys the party. The waiters began to walk around, carrying trays with wine and glass. She no longer refused when Ralph handed her a goblet of red wine. Cheers for the beginning of our friendship. Ralph raised the cup he was holding and toasted Nicole. Steven took a series of sips from the wine, while his eyes never left the woman, laughing with Ralph. It seemed that she's easily flattered by men, even though she just met him. She incautiously laughed with him. Danica also looked at where her boyfriend's gaze is focused. The tip of the upper part of her lip lifted as she recognized who he was observing. She could not deny that the beauty of her friend is no match to the other ladies there. She admits that her body is more shapely than hers. But she lacks self-confidence, and that's why she has.
Honey, try this one.
Danica grabbed the young man's attention. She gave him the goblet she took from the tray carried by a waiter who had just passed in front of them. Steven took without hesitation and drank it content straight. Danica suppressed a smile that wanted to upper her lips after her boyfriend drank it. After a few more seconds, he shook her slightly from the position, and she immediately supported him.
Are you okay, honey?
Danica asked him worriedly. Steven rubbed his own forehead as he felt his surroundings spin again.
I think you need to rest first. You also drank so much alcohol. I'll tell Rita later to handle it if others look for you.
Steven no longer refused when Danica led him to the elevator. The event was coming to an end and some have returned home. Duso could leave the hall without worrying. He has his own room in the hotel, so he can spend the night there.
I'm okay here. Leave me and join Rita to entertain those who are still there.
Steven pushes the young lady away. Danica kissed her boyfriend on the lips before leaving. She hurried back to the venue and looked for Nicole. Steven suddenly felt hot, so he decided to take a bath before going to sleep.
Here you are.
Danica breathed a sigh of relief as she approached Nicole.
I'm sorry if I let you here too long. Don't worry about me. I won't be lost. Besides, I made a new friend.
Nicole's eyes were rosy and she smiled at her friend. She was not used to drinking alcohol, so she became tipsy.
Thanks for accompanying my friend while I'm gone.
Danica smiled gratefully at Rolf.
No problem. Your friend is humorous and it's easy to make her laugh.
Rolf's comment. When Rolf was no longer in front of them, Danica signaled to a waiter to approach them.
Drink this juice first to reduce your dizziness.
Nicole obeyed her and accepted what she offered. It was less than a minute and suddenly felt strange in her body.
My anthrax will be mad at me for letting you get drunk. We should just spend the night here.
She led her to a room. Nicole agreed Danica. She's right. Her mother will surely scold her particularly with what she's wearing tonight. Her mother is scary. When she's angry and she's afraid that her friend would be scolded too.
Where are you going?
She grabbed Danica's hand when she moved away. She sat on the side of the bed.
I'll just go back, Rita. Take a break and don't worry, because I'll join you here later.
Danica said goodbye to her. Nicole lay down on the soft bed when Danica left the room. But she immediately sat down again and suddenly, she felt a hot tingle between her thighs. She was restless and her feeling gradually became hot. She suddenly felt like her clothes is choking her even though it is not around her neck. Irritably, Steven wrapped a towel around his waist and went out of the bathroom. It took him long because his body barely loses its heat. He realized that what he had drunk earlier was wrong, and he has to call his doctor friend to bring him medicine before it gets worse and he could no longer control himself.
What's happening?
Nicole asked herself. Her own hand involuntarily rubbed her thighs when it felt hot again. His attempt to reach for her cell phone on the sofa was thwarted when he heard a woman's low growl. Only the lampshade was on. Lucy didn't notice that someone else was in his room. The woman's hair was covering her face, so he couldn't recognize her right away. She was apparently surprised at his presence and quickly removed the hand that was between her thighs. "What are you doing in my room?" His voice echoed in the four corners of the room. He groaned and tried to control his libido when he saw the woman's appearance. Her eyes are beautiful and she's biting her own lip to suppress the groan that wants to escape her mouth. He shifted his gaze to her legs. She's squeezing what's between her thighs. Nicole did not know what caused the sudden trembling of his muscle when she recognized the man. If it's because of the heat she felt or her fear of him, or because of the excitement, seeing his muscular body. It looks delicious to eat, especially because only a towel is dropped over his entire body.
Oh my God!
She screamed in her mind. She felt the heat on her face doubled because of his embarrassment. "I'm asking you, lady." He hissed while clenching his fist.
I don't know, sir.
she said while firmly touching her thighs when again there was a twitch between her thighs. She was already sweating profusely and didn't know how to release the heat in her body that she wanted to lose. Shit. Stephen cursed when he noticed that the woman was not behaving normally. The sighed loudly when the young man took a few steps and carelessly got her up from the bed. Tell me, who is your accomplice to carry out all this? Anger flared in his eyes as he held the woman by his neck. Anger, disgust and lust mixed into his emotions.
I don't know what you're talking about, but please help me.
Nicole moaned and ignored the tightness of his hold from her neck. The heat that lingered in her intensified as she freezed against him. Stephen angrily released her neck and pushed her back onto the bed. Don't blame me after this. Those were the last words Nicole heard from the young man because he moved on the top of her. She felt like she's going crazy because instead of being scared, her body is excited. Her mind was already empty because of the strange sensation she feels. His anger for her dominates Stephen's heart and mind as he indulges in her body. He didn't want to admit it to himself, but even though he wasn't under drugs, he was addicted to kissing her lips. He just let her be noisy. Even the moaned when she learned to respond to every kiss he gave her. Tears welled up in her eyes as he finally got her most carefully compliment. It was painful at first, but the ones that followed were unparalleled in taste. Stephen completely lost his sanity as he continued to own the woman. It didn't matter to him if he hurt her. What was important to him was to release the intense heat that was building up in his manhood. He claimed her a few more times, and she just let him because her body needed it. He claimed her a few more times, and she just let him because her body needed it too. He could no longer count how many times he had taken her to paradise until they were both exhausted.
Are you okay?
Rita asked Danica worriedly. She accompanied her to a room in the hotel when she informed her earlier that she had a headache.
A little bit.
Danica replied to her in a whisper. The truth is that her heart is hurting now, knowing that the two important people in her life are drowning in the heat. She wanted to shout to relieve the anger she felt, but she had no right to complain because she was the one who wanted it.
You look terrible. I will call Brother Stephen so we can bring you to the hospital. No.
She quickly grabbed Rita's hand.
Your older brother is not feeling well too, and I don't want to disturb his rest. Don't worry about me. It's just a migraine and it will go away later.
Rita sighed and went back to sit next to her friend. She massaged her forehead to somehow relieve the pain.
Thank you.
Danica smiled her before closing her eyes to relax herself. Understanding this situation, Rita just laid down onto the bed next to Danica. She felt sorry for her condition. She's the only one who knows the true status of her body. She knew that she's stressing herself, thinking how to give her grandmother's demand. But her brother did not cooperate because he did not have time. She knew that her brother only had business on her mind. He's not active in the sex life, and that's what the relationship of the two lacks. To be continued.